A series of no staple veggies, like the no staple food, rice and wheat. How we are going to avoid the staple vegetables, which has become more commercial, made for shelf life, more for transportation. In so many ways, these are engineered and restructured and genetically modified. So many things have been done on these three vegetables, especially the potatoes, tomatoes, and the onions, which you can see that we are inevitably using in our day-to-day cooking in every meal. This is there. One of this item is almost there in every meal. The agriculture production itself has become like a supply chain of larger supermarkets and everything. So how are we going to avoid these three vegetables? Just by avoiding these three vegetables in our day-to-day cooking, we are not going to malnutrient of any particular nutrients which we cannot avail from other vegetables. So this series is focusing on 100 recipes which done without using these three vegetables, and here we are in the third episode of this series. Sorry, surprise, I spoke about no potatoes. Why am I taking the potatoes? These are not common potatoes. This is like red potatoes. Okay, so how we are going to use this instead of the regular staple food potato in this dish. And this is not a main ingredient, this is only a side ingredient. Okay, I'm just going to boil them on the side by the time I prepare the main ingredient. So this is going to be the main ingredient of today's dish. And the specialty of this veg, as you know that this is a small one, but it can grow up to like this much big, like 10 kgs, 15 kgs size. This can grow easily. So the beauty of this one is just by how long it stays great, right? This can stay well for about a month or 2 months, even after it is like taken out of the plant. So I'm opening up the So what is it that very interesting fact that you can understand about this kind of vegetable is that this is not, in my understanding, it is not so commercial like the typical potatoes, tomatoes, and the onions. Okay, these are not so much bioengineered, so much changed, genetically modified. So still, these are like good. And also the beauty about this kind of veggies is that these are so alive. That is why it can stay so long for about a month or 2 months, also even if it is taken out of the plant. So it is so alive, these kind of veggies which can stay longer. For example, a tomato, if it is a real tomato, it has to stay, it has to rot within a few days. It has to lose its structure within a few days. Only then we understand that is a great tomato. But when it comes to this kind of things, how long it stays, that says about it, how chronic it is, how like vital it is, how much of real life it has. So these food are that way special to us. So now I'm just going to prepare them. Remove the seeds. So from the size of the seeds, though it was small, from the size of the seeds, I can see that this is a little bit reasonably matured, but still it can become much more matured. Yeah. Remove the seeds. So if you're just cooking for your family, just feel free to engage your hands. Like make sure that you have washed thoroughly your hands, and then you have clean nails, and then just use your hands so that the food recognizes yourself first. So when you cook, when you engage and cook the food right from this moment already, okay, if you have bought this, chosen this, it has already identified you. And if you are now engaging now with cooking, it is like even more recognizing already to become a part of you, to the digestion process, and the assimilation integration is going to be like just great. This stuff, I don't know if these can be scrapped using the scrapper, but I'm going to try this. But it's not removing the rind completely. That way, it is one way. It is better to not to remove the rind completely, so that it can stay more crispy as I cook further. So one problem that people have in buying this, why people try to avoid these kind of things, is that it normally comes as a very big piece, or they have to cut out, and storing there for them is a problem. But now it's a full piece, and we are going to eat the whole piece. How? That's what you're going to see. So now the tomatoes are staying good enough for about 1 month also. If the synthetic tomatoes that we are getting these days from the market, they are able to stay good in the same shape and so shining and well for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks easily. How? Because it has been so much modified, so much. There will be almost no juice content. If you see, the original tomatoes are like so juicy and silky in nature that even if it is handled like little harshly, it will just tear up and shed all its juice. That's how the real original tomato was. But now it's been now converted for the convenience of transportation and for the shelf life. But these things nature has created in such a way that it can stay good for a very long time. These are like living beings actually. It's very much alive. That is why you see the another variant of this, that is the ash hod, is actually used as a replacement in the tradition instead of offering a life like a goat or a chicken that people use traditionally to give sacrifice. They can also easily replace it with the ash god, has been very much in practice because it is as much as life as a sheep or a goat or a, so it's much more than actually, it's so much alive. That's why it's been identified in the ancient times. Vegetarian is not about not harming life, it is about responsibly choosing what life supports, which life supports much better than the other life for your sustenance. So we got them ready for cutting here. Yeah. Fine chopping, which is being in trend, is not great actually. Okay, it can be good for the trend, good for the fine dining. So cut them into big pieces like this, okay? Chunky pieces, so that when you like sort them, it doesn't completely lose all its life and day. So here I have a plate full of pumpkin here. Red potatoes are ready. Deskin them and keep it ready for our dish. Going to prepare the dish right now. So for this pumpkin, I got a suggestion from my wife to use coconut oil. Just going to pour just a cup of oil. That's all, not much. Hey, Amisha. So I'm taking a little bit of mustard, as usual. So this is my favorite. Okay. And also, my favorite is, I think this should also work. Now I'm taking a good amount of cumins. And I'm going to use a special chili. This is from Nagaland, and it is just half a chili, okay? And it's going to be really, I'm a bit worried about using a half a chili, so I'm just going to put only a quarter of it, because it is really, really hot. We have tried a few times. I'm going to directly go into the veggies. Let's sprinkle some fabric turmeric here for this. Looking at the chunk and being generous with the turmeric. You can also add a little bit of coriander. This is coriander. Allowing them to blend well with the coriander powder and the turmeric powder. So I think it's ready almost. It doesn't take much time actually. So I'm going to add the boiled potatoes. So you might have a question, how different are these red potatoes from the normal potatoes? Yes, it is different in terms of, the very content of the starch. It has a much lesser content of starch compared to the regular potatoes, and also it has more potassium and also more fiber content. And it is also more sticky. The dish is going to be ready. So just garnishing is left. Garnishing the available coriander. So got the garden fresh curry leaves as usual, and I'm the dish is ready to be served here in the bowl. So this is a red potato pumpkin dish, and this evening meal is just ready. One bowl of meal. Have you ever imagined how can we use, all the time we had this trouble when we buying this pumpkins. How can we use it so much? But this way you can use it so much. Yeah, of course. That is left for my wife. So one bowl for me, another bowl for her. Sorry, I forgot to add the salt. I'm getting back the stuff. Add the rock salt. And turn around a couple of times. And remember, this is all the meal. There is no additional rotis or rice to go with it. So the potato almost disappeared into the dish, isn't it? So the dish is ready.